I streamed for 4 hours earlier, and I'm back. You know, if you're gonna do something, make sure it's fun. And I really like streaming. I'm having a great time. So I wanted to play more Stalker. I just hang out. It's Saturday night, and I was like, well, why don't I just stream more? I fulfilled my schedule that I set for myself, but at the same time, this is about community and about having fun and enjoying yourself. So here I am again. Um, yeah, I've been in the entertainment industry for a long time. I haven't been a streamer for very long, but I was in the art world, I was in the acting world, uh, other worlds, uh, all entertainment. I was security at Balance for a long time. Well, not a long time, 6 months. I was doorman at a bar in downtown, excuse me, Montreal. So I've been in bartending, security. That's entertainment too. It's an entertainment industry. Uh, so I have a lot of experience in the entertainment industry, and one thing that it takes to succeed is loving it, having a passion for doing it. And not about the limelight, but just about enjoying the lifestyle. And if you do that, you might get somewhere. And I'm someone that really, in a lot of ways, has no choice but to be in the entertainment industry, whether it be, you know, in the military, in psychology. I should say I'm Rivercrow underscore 88. I have I'm going into the Canadian Armed Forces, into the Navy as a naval warfare officer, as well. I'm pursuing a PhD in psychology. I have a long history of art in Canada. I'm an artist with the Canadian Arts Council, Canadian Council for the Arts. I can never remember which it is, and it's very embarrassing. I'm a validated artist with them. I'm a well-known underground artist who saw his work change the world. And then as I was a writer, I was also picked up by the acting industry, and then by the recently by the psychology industry to sector to begin that journey. So that's where I'm at. I still write. I just finished a manuscript, but I'm going into the military and moving towards my PhD in psychology. And the reason this relates to entertainment is it's all entertainment. At the end of the day, it's being interesting and giving people something that encourages and enlivens them and enlivens them and gives them light inside of them. And that is what these industries are about. For a person like me, it's really about taking my energy, my spirit, my light, and giving it away to others, and having it reflect back to make me feel good about myself. So, streaming, I do it because I love it. This when I started the first go around, I just thought it was a cool. Twitch was a cool new thing, and I had heard about it for years, and then I finally popped on myself, and I loved it, and I fell in love with it. And I didn't start streaming because I want to make $1 million. I started streaming because I love the community and love the people I meet, and I love the good drama, the good sex, and the good money. And if you understand what that means, you're probably a lot like me. You know, so that's what I'm here to do. So I'm brewing a fresh coffee, and I'm gonna play Stalker. I chat a lot. I'm very chatty. Uh, I might be the chattiest. Frankly, I can talk for 4 hours nonstop. That's impressive. That's an impressive feat. I don't know how chatty I'll be now. This is kind of on my personal time. It's all personal time, but I'm just joking. It'll probably be the exact same. Anyways, I'm just gonna grab this coffee. I'll BRB. such an idiot. It's sorry. I had it on mute. Little rookie mistakes that annoy me. It's nice to see you. Happy to see you. How was your day? All right, I've got it quite a bit further in Stalker. Um, I was saying earlier, my day was okay, and yours? My day was pretty good. What did I do today? What did I do? I did some balancing fitness workout stuff. I hung out with new streamer friend. Well, I've known her for a little bit. Curly, hung out with her for a bit. Hung out with Emo for a little bit. And did I? No, I didn't. I feel like this day really flew by. I had a big nap. Streamed earlier. That's about it. It was a pretty mellow day, really. Oh, I started designing some merchandise as well. But yeah. A rare non-busy day. And the nap. I streamed and then I was pretty tired. So I just laid down, and the next thing you know I was out for like 2 hours. But it's one of those naps that you really like your body's like, yeah, this is like what I need. So it's pretty good. I don't I tried to nap and I like actually before stream earlier I tried to lay down for 20 minutes and I just couldn't. I just too much energy, right? So I'll close my eyes for like 5 minutes and then my body's like, okay, you should be good, and then I get up. But then after stream I like slept for 2 hours, so definitely needed it. Now I'll probably be up to God knows what hour. Man, naps. Partner naps, naps of all kinds. Naps with your cat. Naps with your blanket. It was a fully clothed nap. I just laid down and I was dressed exactly like this. I think I might try esports. Actually, I am gonna try esports. I was talking about it later or earlier, and I'm pretty quickly getting good at Stalker. And I did a lot of. I was saying earlier, I've done a lot of MMA training, like martial arts training, and just generally pretty athletic person. And I think it translates. I go to my bed, pick up my dog, cover myself, hug my teddy bear. I love the play-by-play. That is hilarious. Go to my bed, pick up my dog, cover myself, hug my teddy bear, and pass out. You got the process down. I love that. That's amazing. I had two stuffed animals. Mew was a gray and white cat, and then I had Sneck, who was a snake that was about, I don't know, a meter and a half long. Yeah, a meter and a half. I have pictures somewhere. I'll post them someday on Instagram. But yeah, I would give Snack, I think it was 3 kisses when I went to bed, and then when I woke up, 3 more kisses. Yeah, Snack was awesome. I'll try to find the photo of Snack. He had a red tongue like like a snake, and I had to cut it off because I felt a little bad, but I don't want him always have his tongue out like that. That's no good. It'll dry out. But yeah, I lived in Vancouver, British Columbia when I had Snick. It was cool because I had a salt lamp too. So you would get I turn off all the lights, turn on the salt lamp, and it was this really nice kind of like firelight um, aesthetic. And then me and Steck would hang out and chat. I've had my plush since I was 1 year old. See that is cool. I think that's amazing. When I was a kid, my nana, I had tickle blankets. So they were like a teddy bear in a scene. It was kind of a pastel color, and then on the edge there was a fringe that was, I think it was folded silk, and it would tickle. And I can remember like I rub it on my fingers and rub it on my mouth. And I literally, I think I had that tickle blanket till I went to university. I would have been 18 or 19 before I got rid of it, and I didn't want to get rid of it. If looking back, if it would be nice to still have my tickle blanket. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't have a tickle blanket right now. And I can remember, like, I'm like 16 or whatever, and like I was never like I wasn't a macho kid, but my friends would come over and they'd go into my room, and I'd forget that I had like the tickle blanket on the bed, and I'd like pretend to like fall in the bed and like throw it off, so because I didn't want them to see my tickle blanket. Yeah, man, comfort blanket, man. That's what it's all about. Nana made sure, you know. I hope that's still a thing. And it's so funny, right? Because I like in my household, like my grandfather, my papa, like he was known as I was told this. He's like one of the toughest guys in northwestern Ontario, durable, and worked in paper mills, right? And like you grew up around like the toughest guy there is, but at the same time you got your tickle blanket, and he's totally fine with tickle blanket, because that's like real tough. Tickle blankets are tough. Go up these stairs. I'm trying to get out of the courtyard. I don't think mine exists anymore, but I remember only being able to sleep with similar blankets and outside attack. Yeah, that's exactly it. It really was the smell thing. I don't remember that, but it there certainly was it probably was that. I can remember smells that were really really important that I haven't smelled in years that I was really connected to. Yeah, it's funny. You guys are tough. I didn't have a stuffed animal. I didn't have a teddy bear as a kid though. It was the comfort blanket. I did though. One thing I did have. I see my nephew. This comfort blanket is the cutest thing in the world. He always has a rich. Yeah. Holy, I really do like. It's funny. Come on. It's funny you say that because I really do think I did have like really ritualistic behavior with it that I didn't, even think of it as that when you're a kid. But it was just like these processes, the way I'd fold it and the way I'd hold it, you know. Um, Pretty neat. But my bed, my first like big boy bed, I had till I think till 16, 15. He rubs the tip of his blanket on his hands, then he cheek. Yeah, that's okay. That's if that's what you mean by ritual with that blanket. I 100% did that. It was the lip. I remember the lip. It was a finger and like the lip. I do this and the cheek. Yeah, yeah. Maybe the no, it was like hand, lip, cheek. If I remember correctly. Helmets are tough. Well, you know, adorable kids turn into adorable adults. I guess is how that works. But yeah, I the household I grew up in, like no one made you do anything, right? You were just allowed to be like a cute little innocent kid who loved stuff. And yeah, it was I had a good upbringing. I really did. I was raised by very loving people and wild. We were wild, right? Living kind of out in the forest as we were. Maybe that's what real wildness is tickle blankets, you know? I miss not having worries. Yeah, it's part of. It is funny. I sometimes I watch movies where you know the character is has no worries, and you know I have worries, and it's interesting to watch and be like, yeah, you know, like the spring of your youth, the spring of innocence. Worries though, you know, responsibilities. They're not bad things. It's just it can take time to understand how to navigate them, but that's part of you know becoming who you have the potential to be is dealing with those worries, right? And not solving them, but finding a way just to be elegant in your movement along with those worries. You didn't want to get hurt when you played? Yeah, that makes sense. It's no fun to get hurt and eat eating ants, man. That's awesome. We should all eat ants. We would man, I used to we'd catch tadpoles. It was a big thing. A lot of like we'd have a tent in one of my best friends.
Base was attacked by the military. The entrance to the
One
garbage
second.
is blocked, but there is an old road to the
Sorry.
south. You can use it, but you want to be careful. Good luck.
We my best friend had a tent we put in his backyard, and we'd sleep in there all the time. It was amazing summers. Walking down like dark roads past dark, you know, you're in the forest and it's all peaceful and beautiful. Yeah, we where I grew up, it was northern Lake Superior, so it's the northernmost area of Lake Superior, which is the biggest Great Lake, largest freshwater lake in the world. And when I was little, I didn't have many friends. I remember being married to a tree. Sound like me. You really do sound like me. In some ways, it's probably better to marry a tree than a person, for sure. Yeah, I was totally like that. I played alone a lot, climbed trees a lot. Didn't have many friends either. Uh, Vivid imagination, right? Creativity. I spent a lot of time just sort of on my own adventures, right? I'd have a bike and just spend time, and the trees were always pretty central for me too. You know, I was always hanging out with trees and climbing them and talking to them. That's what a good husband is. He didn't contradict, he didn't fight, and he agreed with everything. That's a big one. Agree with everything. I completely agree with whatever you say. Yeah, there's no need for the contradictions and the fighting and the not agreeing with everything. But I watched Coraline a week ago, and where is it Billy? I can't the boy that she hangs out with, and has his mouth taken away so he can't talk, and she's like, good, perfect. Are you still married? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You took a break? Okay. We're still friends though. That's good. Took a break. That's great. He didn't communicate much, so the problem was he didn't actually talk. You know. So he didn't contradict, he didn't fight, he didn't, and he agreed with everything. But he didn't actually, so there's no communication at the same point. You know, you're not, you know, you don't need friction, but you need some sort of, you know, difference of opinion at some point to keep things interesting. They're not even interesting, just hot. Yeah, forests were a good place to grow up, like hanging out with trees. I don't know that. After I made a mini carrot garden near him, or so what happened? Like, you made the mini carrot garden and it cooled, so he wasn't felt a little like jealous, or trees be jealous. He was cheating on you with a tree. The birds probably had a bird nest in his branches. I bet that's pretty common from what I know about like kind of how trees operate. Is they get birds in their nests, and they kind of that's their focus. So oh, I see. That's that's tough. So it was the carrots. Well, you know, it's a hard reality that you know you got to be careful with who you bring around sometimes. I guess maybe that means the relationship wasn't meant to be though, right? If it all it took was some hot toddy carrots moving in on your man for him to scoot off, you know. Hopefully, you guys still be friends. Trees, man. It's interesting though, cause I never like I didn't date a tree. We were just friends, and there's kind of like that fatherly bond, you know. But it's interesting, you know, that trees are not as infallible as they sometimes would like you to think, you know. The wise old tree, well, they're cheating on you with carrots. How can I know that this idea type of something? It's not the way it goes though. It's always the orange, you know, the redheads. Unbelievable. Cheryl Blossom from Archie Comics, you know, moves into town. Hilarious. It's nice to know that that sort of extends to the tree dating scene as well. That was 11 years ago. Yeah, it's good to talk about it though. You know, that stuff can kind of stay with you. I don't really. I talk about my exes a little bit, but you know, every now and then something new will kind of come. Like, wow, that happened too. Like, you know, and I just kind of talk it out a little bit, and usually fine after. Well, always fine after. Just part of it. Healing process. I don't know. Everyone kind of. So many people have this idea that healing process is like mending process is like you say it and then that's it. No, it comes out in time, right? As you grow and understand more about it. No, they ain't. They ain't too cool. I I really do feel like I've been through, man, like 10 breakups in the last year, and it's not even that. It's not even that the relationships get to a point where you're like physical, right? Like that's, you know, physical's kind of, by the time you're getting seriously physical, a lot of other stuff has happened. Yeah, just like kind of meeting women and things seem to be moving one way, and then you know, you're like, okay, this is cool. You have that excited feeling, and you know, sometimes we get to a point of being physical, but a lot of times not, and then it's just kind of all falls apart. You know, it really did start a lot when I kind of started getting into streaming and in the online world, where I'd like meet other streamers, and there'd be like, you know, some romantic interest, and then it would kind of collapse. But it was kind of that same feeling of like, man, like, and you know, if you're sensing, if you're feeling that it was this good thing that was moving towards like a relationship, and then you have that collapse breakup feeling, that's real, right? Like, you don't need a piece of paper to tell you you were in a relationship, you know. So it's been tough, but I mean, frankly, it's kind of part of it. You know, without kind of talking much about, without being too high on myself, like being a good looking charming person, you do attract a lot of people, and it can take a long time, especially when you're breaking out into the public, uh, to kind of understand who's good for you and who's not. And part of it is, you know, really keeping yourself safe though, and recognizing that you're a good person and you're just doing your best to kind of navigate it, right? And paying attention to people that support and care about you when it happens. Yeah, that's like kind of, man, that's exactly it. And that's the hardest part. And you know, it's an interesting question. Like, are you missing who they were, or are you missing the company that was there? You know, because like I have dated like streamers, like Amaranth and I were dating for a while, and you know, it was great for a while, and then a bunch of stuff happens. Like, I can't do this anymore, and then it was like all of a sudden I wasn't going to her streams anymore, and kind of the people that were around weren't really around anymore because they'd been her friends and not mine. And it was all of a sudden I had all this time, right? And that's tough. Yeah, I think that's, man, that's like so spot on though. It really is about that company, and it's like, what do I do now? You know, that's what I was doing. And I don't really like the idea of just kind of filling your time. You know, you want to be using your time for something, you know, helps you reach your goals, betters the community, creates more love. You know, these are the things you should be doing with your time. Relationships don't last because we create a lot of expectations. People move on because they don't meet expectations. Yeah. Is a you're pretty smart. You're smart, and I'd like to think I don't create a lot of expectations on people, and I think a lot of time that's actually the difficulty people have dating me is because I don't put expectations on you. I'm saying be who you are. Like my entire goal in a relationship is to support and care for you, so you're free to be whoever you want to be, right? And I'll be there for you no matter what. And I think that can be challenging for people because um, I'm not asking them to check any boxes or hit any markers or behave in a certain way. And I think that freaks people out sometimes because there aren't expectations. Um, yeah, like the only expectation I have in a relationship is people not to be mean to me and to be nice to me. That's really all I have. Yes, but many people enter a relationship wanting to transform the other into their ideal dream type man. I could talk about that. I have been through that so many times, and there's a couple of recently, the last few years, especially as once again as I started kind of uh, getting a little better known in the entertainment industry in the entertainment sector. I meet women and we date for a few months, and it was kind of that where like I had things to learn from them, so they were more than happy to teach me, and I was more than happy to learn. But then when I kind of had learned a lot, and I was like, okay, well I can teach you some things now, and kind of the time where they were transforming into their ideal dream type was over. They didn't really like that, and then things would kind of go sideways. Is what I found, and that was you need someone that like you grow and then they grow and you're kind of like growing together all the time, right? That's for me. They end up frustrated because they don't understand that people don't need to change who they're just because of yeah. That's and that's kind of what I'm getting at is like I'd get with these whoever it was, and we like I would need to grow, right? It's not that I was immature, but I just there's a certain level of um, adulthood I had to reach. So I would be going, and then I'd kind of get to that point, but then they'd still want me to change more. And I'm like, no, like I'm, like this is where I need to be for now, where I am in my life. Like I need to now experience this and get to the point where I need to grow more. And then, but they'd be like, no, you have to do this. I'd be like, I can't. Like I'm not going to do that because it's not really authentic within who I am. Oh man, it's just I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if that's what it always is. At the end, it really is about where you're starting to meet as like a balanced relationship, and then those expectations start souring it. As an adult, dating as an adult, I think that is a massive part of it. Like pretty consistently in any breakup. Have you ever dated someone who didn't like if they grew up? Have you ever dated someone you didn't like if they grew up less than you, like someone who in every situation wanted to be the center of attention? I've had times where like I'm kind of naturally at the center of attention, but I have had times where it felt like people were a little bit jealous of me, um, and kind of you know wanted to be that center of attention. Maybe they weren't, and that would cause a lot of friction. And I'd be okay with that for a while, and then it was like I don't know if I can really deal with this. Like I don't want to be the center of attention. I just naturally become it, right? And it's not always a gift. That is for sure. You know, it's you're walking down the street and people are getting in your way. Like that's not the kind of center of attention you want to be. But yes. I think that's hard because like you know you want the person you date to be who they are, but if they're kind of constantly like maybe cutting you down or ignoring you, what is your opinion about jealousy? Jealousy is the worst thing in the world. I I've never been jealous a day in my life. Now I've been in kind of these like situations where because of like tensions and hostility, I get a little like, like. But in terms, I've never been jealous. I've never been jealous. I can say that with 100% honesty. I've never been jealous in my life. If someone wants to be with me, they can be with me. If they don't, they don't. I know I'm an amazing person, so if someone thinks doesn't want to be with me, that's fine. I have no problem. Jealousy is the center of destruction for every relationship. And the thing about if someone's jealous, like you'll see it right away. It's always there. And on a long enough timeline, if you stay with that person, it ends up just being you and them in a void with no one else around, right? Give it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is. Eventually, it's just you and them, and there's no party anywhere. Yeah. Listen, I when I dated Amaranth, that's what it was like, and it was really tough. Like we were dating, and it turns out she had a husband that I didn't know about, and then it came out, and I found out by like second hand, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I know. You can read about this. You won't see my name mentioned, but you can read about this. It was her ex-husband, her husband, her manager, who had stolen a bunch of money from her, like 500,000 or something, and she freaked out on stream one night because the money got taken, and then it was this huge thing. And meanwhile, I'm like, what? And she mentioned me publicly a couple times, but I was definitely like the secret boyfriend, and yeah, and that was when I talked about like me being like that tension that kind of makes me ugh, that's what I'm talking about right there. It's people who are trying to make me super jealous. And after I stopped dating Amaranth, I kind of hung around with a couple of her friends a little bit, but it was kind of the same thing. There's just super jealousy, and like I posted about the idea of the plastic cult coming through the plastic cults, right? And that's what I like. That's the plastic cult relationship dynamic is that need for your partner to be jealous, and I'm not down with that, man, at all. And like, there's no doubt in my mind that like she was making her husband super jealous for me. It's like wild. It feels like for a long time people kind of had this perspective of me that he played very dirty with you. Yeah, totally. And like she tried to create this love triangle, right? And then he went insane and stole $500,000 from her. I don't know, he might have been gonna do that anyways, but like that's total like tabloid stuff, and that's like not my style. I get gossiped about enough. I don't need to be in the tabloids. Yeah, I was gonna say though, I think for a long time, and I kind of people told me about this. People had this perspective of me because of how I look and sort of my position that I'm always looking to date like the most gorgeous girls in the world. Well, that's not really true because beauty is not skin deep, and talking about love triangle, I could never be in an open relationship or anything like that. Yeah, it's I don't like the term open relationship. I think it really um, doesn't look at it appropriately, and like open relationship, like that's such a like loaded way to say it, and I do think when you think about open relationships in sort of like the North American Western context, uh, what it really is an excuse for a guy to sleep with more than one woman, or an excuse for a woman to make her husband super jealous or her boyfriend super jealous. Like, uh, I was in one open relationship, and it didn't go well. I'm not a big fan of polygamy. Yeah, yeah. I'm not either. Like, it's not really that, right? It's more of just like it's two different things. I know polygamy kind of like indicates like some sort of like ownership, you know, dynamic, which is gross. But yeah, I was in an open relationship, and she would sleep with this other guy over at his house, and I didn't really mind. Honestly, he was a lot younger than me, um, and yeah, they'd have sex, but I think they'd also like just like hang out a bit, and I didn't mind. He was like a college student, right? So whatever, she was getting something from him. She couldn't get from me. At the same time, though, like it obviously was not good because it ended in disaster. And how it ended was we were in a fight, so I was living there, and we were in an argument. So I had left for the night, which is a red flag right away as well. And then she brought him over and slept with him in the bed we slept in. And then when I came over the next day, she told me, I was like, we have to break up. Like, there's no way. Yeah, and it was like, because we had specifically said, like, listen, if you're good, like, if she's gonna sleep with him, do it at his place, not where I live. And then she did. So, I mean, to your point, you're 100% right. Yeah. Seems to me that a lot of times polygamy and polyandry in the modern context is an excuse to cheat and create a situation where a person can't say anything about it because it's ethical non-monogamy, so you're allowed to do whatever you want. Nah, not buying it. I feel really bad because like I feel like if I'm not enough for my boyfriend, he has no reason to stay with me. Yeah, see, and when I just talked about it, I said she was getting something from him she couldn't get from me. That's as soon as I said that's like ooh, and that's exactly why right there. Like I'm not against having multiple partners, but it's not about because you need to get something from somewhere else you're not getting from that. You need to have a whole relation that gives you everything you need, um, and like deep trust and all these incredible things, you know. And if you're gonna sleep with someone else, they should probably also be like really close friends with your partner. Like there should be like this like wholesome wholeness of connection between all people involved. Anything other than that is just it's a disaster. Trust has to be operating at full on all sides. And that takes time. And like you're saying, it's not about filling in a hole. I'm not against it, but I'm going to date one day. I want to sleep somebody just yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like when I first was thinking about I don't even know how to say it. That doesn't sound so stupid. But the idea of multiple partners, I kind of had this idea like, listen, like, you know, don't talk, just don't talk to me about it. I'm not so sure about that anymore. It's hard to say. But like that, like just fuck some girl, like exactly, you know. I think everything can be resolved in a conversation at the beginning of a relationship. Yeah, but you need to know where everyone stands, you know, and there has to be constant communication and this openness and like things happen, you know, and I don't until there's some sort of difficulty or challenge within a relationship, you don't really know much about your partner, you know, and those conversations happen, but different versions of them have to keep on happening based on challenges and struggles you go through together. But I don't really believe in conversations that are kind of these grinds where you're trying to like these marathon conversations for hours and hours. I'm not. There's something going on there, you know, that I don't really want to be a part of. It's I found it like setting limits, talking about suffering, what you consider cheating, showing where each person. Yeah, exactly. Like you need to have those conversations. Like it's not an option. You need to be transparent and authentic about that. And what I've seen, what I've really seen over and over and over throughout all my experiences with so many couples. Um, Under the colonial system is this continuous lack of like there's no communication and it's just like this like liars inertia that they get together and the next thing you know they're like have a cat, have a dog, have a kid, get a house, and it's they never communicate. I was talking this Yes, exactly. I was talking to this one woman and she said I, I it was like she said she was a self masticator, and I didn't know what that meant. And she said she basically was like an auto cannibal, and she like consumed herself, and so much of it was wrapped up in the misery and tragedy of a relationship with her husband because she was living with a stranger. Yeah, it ends up turning to a snowball, right? And you have the thing is like you get together with this person, they're a complete stranger. You've never talked to them in your life, and you're married. You don't know who they are. You're running on emotions, and like that community around you, community, you know, I'm using that term very loosely, is like encouraging this and like they put you in a situation where you feel like you have no other choice. And there is a concept in psychology where like if you have like you pay a lot for something, there's some sort of ceremony where everyone sees it, it becomes very difficult to get out of, and you feel trapped as if by like getting divorced or something you're going to uh, be socially embarrassed. And especially for I don't care about guys, for women like they become community pariahs, right? Like, oh, she's used goods or whatever, and that to me is insane. And you know, there's a couple women specifically that I was kind of interacting with up until recently, and that was totally this thing where like it seems like so often it's this fear of what the community's gonna say if I break up with my boyfriend or my husband, but it's like you're miserable. You're fucking miserable. What are you doing? And it really does come to a point though where like, you know, so much of the community is like encouraging them to break up and they still don't. And it's just like, well, what do you do? Like what do you do? Like they're now encouraging their own snowball. Communication is key to everything. Yeah, and it's, man, I'll tell you, with what I'm just talking about times when women just won't step away, even though the community is encouraging them to do so. That's what I found happens is they someone explained to me last night is shoving a couch in front of a door. They're just like, nope, I'm not listening anymore. I'm gonna ignore it. I'm gonna block you. I'm gonna whatever. I'm getting you out of my life because you're a voice of reason and care, and it's too much. And then the communication just stops. And what do you do at that point? You move on. Like, what else can you do? Yeah, and it's like communication is the key to everything, and so few people know how to do it. You know, like, hey, it's only the most important skill we have, so whatever. How can you trust someone who doesn't communicate with you? You know, who doesn't open themselves to you, so you can kind of see everything about them. You know? There are couples who live in the same house but don't have dinner together, don't watch a movie together, even when sleeping. One person is away from the other without even saying goodnight. This is what I'm talking about, man. Strangers, like, you literally hate the person. I knew one couple that they got married because that's just what you do, you know. And they bought a house together because that's just what you do. And they didn't sleep in the same room within like 2 months of moving in together and living in a house. And then he built a garage, and he'd just go out there and she'd be in the house, and that was that, man. It's like I don't understand that. People are very superficial. Sometimes they only stay together for money. Yeah, I think that's a lot of time like the rule. Like, I think that's a majority thing that people are like, it's about the money, and that's what keeps them together, and that's what brought them together too. I had a fancy car once. I bought a muscle car, and I did try to like have a nice car and see what happens. And the people that attracted, my God, it was a complete disaster. You know, the next car I buy will be about $500 just to keep them away. Some of the coolest, most powerful people I've ever met drive absolute pieces of crap, you know? I've never even considered dating or being that someone was dating me for money or that I was dating them for money. Like, that idea has never even crossed my mind. Like, you saying, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that is what would happen, eh? When I was younger, like, we grew up money. We were a blue collar family, but we had a lot of money, and so I grew up in a like with money, and it never really money didn't make any difference. You know, don't even like to feel letting a guy pay for the dinner bill alone. Well, you know, the thing with that is, I I frankly agree with it because I like what I've really seen is this idea of like I was nice to you, so you have to be nice to me. You know, like I paid for dinner, so you have to do something for me, and like that is gross. That's disgusting. So when I date, I'm more than happy to pay. But at the same time, if there's any like feeling of like, listen, River Crow, I'm gonna pay for this. It's like, yeah, absolutely no problem. And I do think that it's a sign of respect and care that it's like I'm okay with you paying. And I've had situations, not dating, but where uh, guys would like pay for my dinner, and it would make me really uncomfortable because like I can pay for this. Like, why do you feel like, you know? And then I'd get these conversations with them where like I'd feel like drained and exhausted after. So once again, it's like they're paying for my meal and I owe them something. You know, it's gross. Lascivious. Like both people enjoyed the meeting because it doesn't show that they are both grateful for spending this time together. Yeah. I don't. I have this thing where I don't. These guys are like so strong. Um, I don't even. A first date, coffee max $3. You know, like second date too. Like you shouldn't need to spend money for it to be a date. And specifically, I remember when I was in my super early 20s and like dating was expensive. I spent like $60 every time I went on a date, and I was dating a lot at the time. And like one like like I think it was a week and I had like 3 days, and I was like it was like $200 or something. I was like, this is crazy. Like, what's going on here? So now I'm like, man, like I ain't spending shit. Like we can hang out, let's talk, let's enjoy each other's company because that's what it's actually about. You know, a coffee at the most. There's a girl on TikTok who gets on my nerves. She's like, the guy needs to ask for my, or the guy needs to pay the bill because he's too seen with me. Oh my god, it's just yeah. What's that word? Entitled, like this entitlement attitude, and like, what kind of guy of any value is going to date her? You know, no guy of any value would deal with that. I've never been in that situation where a woman was like that. Oh, even reading that, I'm just like, oh my god. Of course, you found it on TikTok. I am on TikTok though. I I gave in. I don't even like going to expensive restaurants. You pay so much. No, why would you ever do that? Like, I don't eat out at all. I used to, but I don't have fun at restaurants anymore. I don't like the atmospheres. I just order in, and like you can't really like at a first date like well you can. It depends how much you trust someone, but it's pretty tough to go to someone's house, you know, and like uh, but I would much rather like just order like a cheap pizza or like make something together, right? Like going to an expensive restaurant. I don't even know. I don't even know. Like McDonald's. I prefer to go to a park for ice cream, hot dog. Yeah, exactly. Like do something outside, something where you're moving around. Um, somewhere you can get to know someone too. Like an expensive restaurant, like it's such a put on, right? Like it's this contrivance, and people act a certain way in situations like that does not reflect who they really are. Like trying to press someone with money, I'll just laugh at you. I'll literally just start laughing. I gotta go this way. Oof. I was living in Montreal and I went on a date, and yeah, we just went to the park and just sat there and talked. And then we were back at her apartment. That was cool. Ooh, I finally get to use this gun. Okay. Yeah, we met in, I think that was the last person I ever dated from online dating. That was the last time from an online dating app, and after that I gave up. Yeah, I went back to her house, and yeah, we just had a nice time, and yeah, we just dated that once. Going to watch sunset or watch stars are such simple things, but they bring such memorable moments. I know, and like people don't do that anymore. I don't even. I've kind of forgotten I have a phone too. Like I never look at it. I don't do anything with it. I bought one that was like $100 on purpose just so it was crap. You know, all my photos are blurry and I love it. You know, first take photo. Um, but yeah, like going to really do something with the person. I live in Victoria, BC, and I was seeing someone, and yeah, I remember once specifically we were down by the marina, watching the sunset, and like literally like stealing kisses from her. You know, like that real thing. It's an incredible memory. Amazing. You know, just rich with feeling and connection to her because we were there with each other in a real way. I remember too that woman in Victoria I was seeing. I was staying in hostels at the time. I was writing my first book, and we met. And I think we walked around the city for 2 days, and we just talked. Just talked. That's all we did. You know, that was all it was. We didn't buy anything. We didn't go anywhere. We were both travelers, so you know, we are looking at things. But that was about it. We just talked, and she was a scientist and I was a writer, so you know there was kind of sharing stories and experiences about our fields, and yeah, it was great, you know. And there was no expectations, right? That was the thing. I didn't expect anything. She didn't expect anything, so it was allowed to just be what it was.
to see you're alive and even had time to stop by. Come inside. There's something interesting coming up that I want to talk to you about.
Cool. We, we went deeper into the subject of my tree husband. You gotta talk about tree husband. You gotta talk about him. Hey, you were married, you know, right? You were married, married to a tree. This is real. I think I married a. Oh my goodness, I do have. So 3 years ago, I did get married. I guess I married the wind, for lack of a. There was nothing really specific, but I would say probably the wind. Yeah, so I'm married too, actually. Just trying to find who it is I married. Probably was a tree, frankly. Like, I guess you married trees. So yeah, I guess I'm also married to a tree. Uh, and a woman who had tattoos on her legs that walked by me at the time that I was saying my wedding vows. So yeah, we're married. There was even a bit of a contingent of wedding guests as well. Married, married. Like I said, just got to figure out who I married other than that tree. Maybe I did just marry the tree. What is married life like? It is. It really is a mixture of incredible moments and very difficult moments, and growing. I know you have these big challenges and crises, whether they come from life or from internally, and then you do your best to learn from them, and the whole time you care for that other person. You know, but there are certain times when there are certain characteristics or traits that you can't deal with anymore, and you kind of have to walk away from that. And it's like, listen, I really do need you to you know uh, be better to me and not treat me like that. And always that usually comes back to, always to betrayal, to that, like, kind of being set up to feel good and then being let down, you know and that's not okay. That's really the only thing that I really can't put up with. But getting better. I mean, listen, you know when you live in the West and you're kind of fighting against that Western abuse cycle found in relationships, you're gonna see some ups and downs. My married life was peaceful. I made food out of leaves and muds. I washed dishes. I made mud cakes. See, that sounds perfect. That's what you want right there. A peaceful married life. Just eating leaves and mud, washing dishes, making mud cake for dessert. That's really what I'm looking for. The simple life. You know, maybe you have a like a some mud chickens. You know, not a mud cow. That's too much work. But it really is that. You're taking care of bees, you're making your own honey. Yeah. And it's funny because when I say the ups and the downs of the relationship, I don't think that's what it's supposed to be. Obviously things happen, but it's this letdown process when something happens and the person, like, backs away and makes it worse, or is going one way so you feel cared and supported for, and then just like takes your knees out from under you. That's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be food out of leaves and mud, washing dishes and making mud cakes. Like, that's what it's supposed to be.
Well, hello there.
Alright, what do you want? Ease. We all have ups and downs, but when it just keeps getting worse and worse, usually someone is loving one. Yes. And this is the thing. I could not agree with you more, Issa. I really could not.
Not bad. Some pretty good stuff you've got there. Now that's the way
Shut
to
up,
go.
Siridovich. That was with Amaranth. That was really what I learned. Was I was loving her alone, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And one thing I think I've learned is to notice those red flags a lot earlier. That it's going to track that way. It's going to get worse, and I get myself out of it a lot earlier, which saves me a lot of heartache. You know, a lot of heartache, and I just feel more confident, safer. You know, stronger. I think one of the tough things now is learning green flags. So, like, I know all the red flags. Uh, well, not all, but I'm pretty good at the red flags. But it's learning green flags, and I think there's a lot of people out there that's the challenge, is learning what a good flag looks like. And the problem is when you constantly have your knees taken out from under you, it really interrupts that education of green flags, and you kind of have this mistrust again, and you stop trusting for a while. You feel guilty when someone's day wasn't good. You blame yourself for something that was never your fault. You start to have insecurities and leave your happiness behind so you can make someone else happy. Yeah, well, you end up like slaving for this other person's joy, but they're this void, right? This black hole, and it's never enough, and everything you do is wrong, and it just goes and goes and goes forever, and it never really stops being that. And they can't be happy. That's the thing. They're unhappy people, so you're never going to satisfy them. And meanwhile, your own spirit is being drained. And like you said, you start to have these insecurities. Like, is it me? Is this what I'm doing? You know? And no, it's not. You're just with a person that's not great. Okay, something happened. Whatever. Okay. Something. Sneak in the outpost quietly and recover the box. Yeah. Then I'll pay you anything. Within reason, I'm gonna do it for sure. Cool.
Did I not make myself clear? I need real stuff. Well, good hunting, Stalker.
Confused. Yeah, it is confusion. I do think though that it's also a conscious act. I think it really is. They're happy when you're unhappy. They're happy when there's conflict. They're happy when there's drama. You know, it really comes back to dramatic people, and I think it is a narcissistic thing that narcissists feed off of the constant need for drama and conflict, confusion, sadness, misery, right? And it only goes one way. It only gets worse with time. You know, coming back to that idea of jealousy, like it ends up just being you and them, because jealousy is a great thing if you want to constantly create conflict and fear and tension. And like you said, giving you insecurities. Well, what a great way to always have some tension or drama. Dude, ego is like, yeah. It's so like, I found when I really kind of, I did a lot of writing about this stuff, and when I really started doing a lot of writing, like I originally had this idea that there must be some way to like get through to a person, right? To make them understand and kind of like see the light, like, but there isn't. They are literally insane with ego, and they cannot hear anything. Yeah. Same moment you were on the pedestal and you're on the ground again. Yeah, and it's the song where they talk about it, you lift me up just enough to bring me down, right? And that's this constant up and down. You know, you're down, so they lift you up, and then they cut you down, you're down again, they lift you up, and they cut you down again, they lift you up, and they cut you down, and that's your whole life, right? and it gives you PTSD big time because like every time something gets good, it's gonna get bad. And then the problem is that if you are a great person and you get out of those relationships, you're wired for that. So if you're with someone that's good and things are getting better, you start to feel that anxiety and tension, and instead of letting them have control of you, you destroy it yourself, right? So then you have control. Yeah, it's totally a toxic relationship, and that's the thing. It's that original dynamic with that terrible person. That's toxic. But then when you bring that into other relationships, and this thing as things get good, you then start to destroy them to have control of the situation. That's toxic too. So like I think a lot of people would say like, oh well, this person has PTSD or they were hurt. So, but they're being toxic too, and they're continuing that trend. So they're to blame as well. If they want to work on themselves and they have this motion of you see them getting better and being stronger and working on their challenges, yeah, awesome. But if they get mired in that same thing, that's no good. When jealousy starts to appear where the love of your life ends up becoming a nightmare. Yeah, as soon as jealousy appears or any sort of like vindictive, um, taking your legs out from under you, because that's a form of jealousy too. If they're jealous of you feeling good and knock you down, and then the problem is too, like they might even like do something to end it, and they have this like self sacrificing notion that they're doing the world of you a favor or doing something good. It's like no, you're being shitty. Like you're just, why did you have this fantasy in your head if your plan from the start was to be terrible when things were getting good, you know? So like I don't have any excuses for it anyway, other than an authentic, genuine, supportive, caring person, you know, that dedicates himself to your happiness while you're dedicating yourself to their happiness. Other than that, I got no excuse. I got no they're all shit. Like that idea of like stopping a flowering relationship because you want to do them a favor by not hurting them anymore. That's super dramatic. That's a ton of drama, and that's all in their head, right? And you're meanwhile you're like, I just liked hanging out with you, So whatever you got going on up there, whatever you're seeing doesn't really exist, you know. You've decided that that's what this is. I've had that a lot where I would go to coffee shops and the woman that owned it, you could tell she had. I have zero patience for dramatic people. Yeah, that's what I mean. And like I would go to specifically a coffee shop in Montreal, and I would go to it, and the woman, I could tell there was like this relationship between us going on in her head, and like she was good looking. I thought she was interesting. We got along, but like I'd go there one day and she'd be all happy. I'd come the next day and she'd like mad at me for no reason. And then by the end of the time when I left, she'd like me again, and it was clear that she was playing out these relationship dynamics, this big melodrama in her head. Soap opera. She was playing out this soap opera or telenovelas. The soap opera's big cousin. The real soap opera, the telenovela. Yeah, I can't. I have no patience for it, and it's like all this stuff's going on, and I just want to like make out with you. Like that's I just enjoy my time with you and want to hang out with you because I like you and you say funny stuff. So why do you have to complicate it with all this stuff? I don't get it. Actually, I do get it. I've stopped caring about it. There's a box from the army outpost. Yeah, I'll try this one, I guess. Zero patience. I like people that have zero patience for BS. I really do. Oh, this is on the other side. Okay. want to use that med kit. I hate people who act with a tantrum. Yeah, it's because they don't know how to communicate, so they get emotional and they throw fits. And like, listen, if you're a child, you shouldn't be throwing tantrums anyways. But if you're an adult and you're throwing tantrums, like, you have the mind of a child, and it's kind of a form of violence too. You know, if you get all angry and scary because you don't like what people are doing or saying, that's a problem. Like, for guys that throw tantrums, like, those are guys that, like, get into fist fights and hurt people. You know, when you're 5 years old and tantruming, it sucks. But when you're 25 and having a tantrum, that's scary, and you should probably maybe be put in jail. This is a terrible idea. I dated one woman who, she would hit me. Like, if she didn't like what I'd say, she'd just, like, hit me. And it happened once. And I was like, I'm out of here. Like, this, I'm not. Physical violence? Absolutely not. Not putting up with it for 1 second. This ain't gonna be easy. It's just, it's so simple. Be peaceful. Don't be dramatic. Love people. Care about people. Communicate. They're very simple things, but they're so hard for people because they demand a lack of ego. Of giving to others instead of taking, and that is one of the hardest things for people to do. Not hard when you're really starting to like someone. Yeah, well, it isn't. Like, it's like I want to give the person I like all my stuff. That's a real feeling. I want to sacrifice for them to make their lives better. I'm not sure there's anything more beautiful in the world. And when that's returned, when that operates on both sides, man, you might have found another tree to marry. The thing, it's not supposed to be some, like, conscious calculated effort.